One. Okay, welcome to the sports section. Matt Mankiewich and Mike Anderson here with Evan Giordano, the America East Player of the Year for Stony Brook, and ended his season in the most dramatic fashion possible. And Mike, you and I were both there. I was on the call on the radio. You were covering for Statesman. Take it from here.
Yeah, I am a firsthand witness to a lot of this man's greatness. Some refer to him as number 12, some as number 45, some as the MVP. Of course, I know him as Evan. Evan, how are you?
Good. I'm good.
That's good to hear. Now, let's start off with an easy one. Let's start off by at least confirming that you are officially returning for a fifth year.
Yes, it is official. Me and the coaches have worked out a plan to come back for next year. So, yeah.
Beautiful. Okay, breaking news. And, if you wouldn't mind, of course, you don't necessarily have to, but there were 5 of you in total who were graduating. Can you confirm anybody else's return?
I can confirm Nick DeGennaro, but
right.
I am not too sure about the others. So
okay,
hopefully they all can come back.
Absolutely, yeah. But now that we got that out of the way, I want to get to this too. So we have a lot of non-Long Islanders on this show, and I always love asking them questions like this. So while you're here during the semester, where is your favorite place to go on Long Island?
All right. So I would say my favorite place to eat would be Pumpernickel's. That's right.
Okay.
Yeah, right next to campus there.
Right.
People who work there are great, and it's real close. But
right.
Besides that, I don't know. I haven't really gone to see too many things around Long Island. I mean, I wish I could, and I wish I could experience some summer in Long Island. But Fire Island was pretty awesome. So that was definitely one of the coolest spots I've been in Long Island for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So now that we got that out of the way, why don't you just tell the audience, what you've been up to since we last saw you?
Yeah, sure. So after the season ended, I just took a week and a half off, basically to rest my body and kind of like my mind too, get out of that baseball mode for a second. And but yeah, since I've gotten home, I've been working out, hanging out with some of my family and my friends I haven't seen in a while. And so that's basically it. I don't have a summer baseball team as of now, so I've just been working out.
That's good though. Now you said that you don't have a summer baseball team. This is the first time you haven't played over the summer since 2020, I guess. So just why is it that you don't have a summer league team? Is it your age? Is it something else?
Well, in the beginning of the year, it was tough for us to, like the seniors, to get on a team, because a lot of teams do accept younger guys first and all that.
Right.
But I was waiting around. I was hoping I could get onto one of the Cape Cod teams. And, that's still the goal. The season starts, I think, in a few days. So, hopefully that can happen. But, yeah, as of now, it's just because in the beginning of the year, we didn't really attack it. And it's tough it is tough for older guys to get on summer baseball teams as opposed to, sophomores and freshmen. So
right, yeah, and you wouldn't be alone. I've seen that happen to some of your former teammates too. So
yeah.
Okay. Another question though. You said you're working out, and oftentimes in the off season, guys will take a few weeks off to heal and unwind and a little bit like that. Is that because you're trying to set yourself up for Cape Cod?
Yeah. So, I took a week off to, rest and heal, like you said. And then, I've been working out, to, possibly I've been hitting, I've been, throwing just in case, I can get into the Cape Cod or, maybe some team that's local. So yeah, that you're right about that. I've been working out to stay in shape.
All right, awesome. In your fourth off season as a Seawolf, what do you feel you still need to work on?
I think I could definitely improve on some things for sure. Every year I try to improve as a player, and looking at this past year, I think I could improve on my defense for sure. I had some plays that I still have nightmares about that I could wish I could have back, but yeah, I just think it's something that I could work on with some of my coaches and some of my teammates, and yeah, so I'd say defense for sure right now would be my top priority of things to improve on.
I know there are at least a couple of plays from that second to last game against NJIT when the rain hit, where nobody could find a grip on the ball. I asked Coach Sank the next day, how come the game wasn't stopped or suspended because you were playing the next day? You easily could have picked it up. And he said, nobody even thought about it. And I'm like, what? I was getting soaked out there.
Yeah, I should have seen my jacket after that.
I feel the same way you do.
I was thinking, I'm like, Stony Brook should do what Jersey Tech did the year before and try to delay this game, try to get it canned. You guys are already in the top of the sixth inning, would have been an official game, but whatever. I guess the baseball gods didn't want you to have that one. But now that we got all the off-season talk out of the way, let's get into your career. Let's get into the early stages of your career, as a matter of fact. So as we've established, you're not from here per se, you're from New Jersey. When you were in high school at Gloucester Catholic, what was your awareness level in regards to Stony Brook? Did you know anything about the school and the baseball program, or did you find out about it during the recruiting process?
No, I definitely knew about Stony Brook and its success I had in the College World Series because I was an avid baseball fan my whole life. So and actually there was this player who was ahead of me by like 5 or 6 years maybe, that went to my high school and went to Stony Brook actually, and he played third base. And he actually ended up leaving, I think, after maybe a year or two. But I looked up to him as somebody, he was a great guy on the field, off the field, and he went to my high school. So I did know Stony Brook through him and through its past success, but I didn't really know anything about the coaches or the school until they started recruiting me. So, yeah.
You're not talking about Willie Carmona because he's from Hempstead. Who was the player that you're talking about?
This guy named Brett Tenuto. He was.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah, he was here for I think maybe a year or two.
Okay, that makes sense. I was going to say, I'm like, hold on a second. Willie's from here.
We talk about the type of player that Coach Sank and his staff goes for. And were you surprised that Stony Brook came to you? Because, you now know what type of player they look for, what type of player you guys all are. And you kind of reminds me in many ways of teams like the Minnesota Twins that do a lot with a little. And it means you guys basically think for yourselves out there on the field. Is that really what type of thing that they told you about when they approached you?
So yeah, I knew, when they recruited me, they had a lot of, ideas of who they wanted in the program and what the program is here. And, a lot of that came from, hard work and, it's a Northeast program to mid-major. So, and they like to win, which was, one of the, main things is why I came here, was because, it's a winning program. And that was really presented to me by Coach Sank and other coaches when I was recruited here. So, yeah, I think, their idea of who they want was really, really fit into, what I wanted out of a college program, which is to basically win. So
awesome. What was going through that process like, as a young man? Who did you meet first from the coaching staff? Because obviously it's not always Coach Senk himself doing the scouting.
Yeah, it wasn't Coach Senk. It was actually Coach Joe Panucci. He's
wow.
Yeah, who's not here anymore. So he was the one who actually recruited me and actually took me around campus. But so he was the main guy, and then obviously talked to Coach Sank, but Coach Morin and Coach Braz, obviously, but Coach Kavanaugh, they weren't even here when I was getting recruited.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were that young, huh? I mean, I know that most D1 commitments are made early. They're made sometime between, the start of 10th grade and the end of 11th grade. But when exactly did you make your commitment? I guess if Panucci was here, he was here till 2017. So that had to have been 2016, 17? You're 3 years older than me. So were you in 10th grade by that point?
Yeah, it was after my 10th grade year. So after my sophomore summer.
Wow.
Or during my sophomore summer, which is when I committed here. Yeah.
That's so much clarity for a high school kid. I didn't know where I was going to college until April 29th of my senior year. And that was during 2020. So I wasn't even really in school anymore. There was a lot of instability there. So that must have been really awesome for you, just going through the last 2 years of high school, knowing, I'm going to go to this school, this high level school, and play D1 baseball there. Were you bragging about it? What was that like, man?
It was calming knowing, no matter what happens during these years, I'll still be at the top D1 university in the country. But yeah, I mean, a bunch of my friends, that was all of our goals, on our travel teams, to play Division I baseball. So a bunch of us committed to schools, and it was just, it was easy sail from there because, we could just play, fun, loose, and, just you don't have to worry about the whole recruiting process. So, yeah.
Wow. That's amazing.
So a lot of players, especially the ones who recently graduated or ones who got the extra year of eligibility, stuck around, got their master's and stuff like that, took advantage of the educational opportunity. When you came into Stony Brook, did you have any idea what you wanted to do academically?
No, honestly. I picked business management. I stuck through that, and I really am glad I picked that as a major because it is something that I want to pursue after my baseball career is over. So my brother's in it. And, he's enjoying himself with what he does. So, yeah, it is something I do want to pursue. So I'm glad I did pick business management as a major.
That's good. That's good. At least, you found something that you were interested in. You weren't forced to pick something just because you go here. Now, was the commitment to Stony Brook hard for you? How many schools were offering you, and were you leaning one way before going to Stony Brook?
I didn't have schools. I didn't have that many offers to begin with, so it was just a couple schools, and Stony Brook, was one of them. So it was tough because, obviously you're making a decision that's going to impact your life for the next 4 years, but
right.
All things considered, Stony Brook was and is the best option out of all the schools that were looking at me. So
absolutely. Well, this is why Matt Senk is the GOAT right here, right? You just said you were overlooked by however many schools, and here you are, America East Player of the Year for Stony Brook. Matt, do you have another question?
Well, over the course of the years, as you grew into your position, and again, talking a little bit about the philosophy of the program, how did you evolve as a player? What did you go in with some, predilections, what you were thinking that the program was going to be like? Because, like we said, fundamentals is a big part of this program. And what did you learn over the years as you developed?
I think the main thing I learned from being here is, you got to be mentally tough. And the coaches preach that every day of practice. And they put you in situations where, you're going to be tested and it's going to be like a game-like situation. So I think freshman year and sophomore year was a real it was a big change in my career because freshman year, coming out of high school, everybody's the man. You play great in high school and you get to college, you think you're going to just easily walk right into it. And it's just not like that. So, and I had to go through some of those struggles, but, I had to learn the mental toughness part of this game. And, it's really coached well by our coaches in this program, how you got to be tough. You got to be mentally tough. And I think I really, looked myself in the mirror after freshman year. And I think I did acquire that mental toughness that, these coaches preach every day. And it really turned around my career.
And then you see the results in your last couple of years. I mean, yeah. I mean, look, the type of plays that you've made, and of course, the one that put the cherry on everything, that was a perfect example of it, of mental toughness, of being able to, bounce back, going down 5 runs, bouncing back, tying the game. And of course, the day before, the 18-16 mess is another perfect example of it. If we're making errors, they're going to make errors too.
Yeah.
Well, but that is such a perfect segue, actually, because now I want to get into your playing career. So obviously it starts in 2019. You're a freshman. And I mean, you stumbled upon a great team. That team was in the NCAA regionals. And you got some valuable playing time that year, too. You helped contribute to the team. You even got to face LSU as a freshman, which is crazy to think about. So having said that, you already touched on it. You struggled that year. But, just how valuable was that struggle and that experience to you? Like, do you think you'd be this Evan Giordano if you didn't have that season?
Oh, no, I don't think so at all. I think it was so valuable, to learn how to adjust and to, move on with things. And especially in baseball, because it's games, it's all failure. So
right,
you got to learn how to fail and just, come back the next day and, play again, because you play every day. So
yeah, no, absolutely.
It's tough.
What was that like going to LSU, Alex Box Stadium, and coming back in here and knowing full well, because the coaches told you and everyone, alumni told you, last time we were in here, we won.
Yeah, it was insane. I remember is the whole team was sick, so we had some type of flu going around, which was just terrible to begin with. But besides that, I don't even know why I brought that up. Anyways,
okay.
Yeah, no, the environment was pretty crazy because we were going out to eat before the game even started, and we had like so many people coming up to us that were from the area, and we're just like treating us like celebrities, telling us like last time you guys played us, you killed us, like you beat us. Like this was like 10 years ago or 8 years ago at the time, and
right.
They still had it on the front of their brains. So yeah, it was crazy. And then we go to the game,
really
and the stadium is packed. Like
Was that the moment where you realized like, oh man, like we're not in Kansas anymore, Toto? Like this is a different world of baseball.
Yeah, for sure. Because it was something else down there, especially with the history that we had with them. We were getting off the bus and people were waiting for us off the bus. LSU fans and everything. It was wild.
That's amazing. Now, during your career, you've played with some really outstanding players, right? I mean, you get there and you're playing with Mike Wilson, who wound up getting drafted that very June and was already drafted out of high school too. Chris Hamilton was playing first base. Nick Grande was the shortstop, and I think he was drafted later that year too. Brandon Alamo had a great year that year. Tooch was already there. Turcotte, Milch, Herman, Deej, they were all there before they really came into their own. Ben was all rookie that year. John LaRocca winds up coming here. Then there's the new guys like Stanton, Booty, Brett, Foxy. I mean, you've played with such an embarrassment of riches, alongside you. So What has it been like being able to play alongside all these talented guys?
It's been awesome. These guys are so talented, and off the field they're even better guys. So I just feel like I've been lucky to play with them, and lucky to call them my friend.
Absolutely. Now let's move past freshman year and let's go into sophomore year. So you come back for year 2 in 2020, and the team looks primed to repeat. You start off the year scorching hot, right? 15-game on-base streak. You hit safely in 14 of 15 games. You belted your first 2 career home runs. You're batting .368. Then pretty much out of nowhere, the pandemic happens. The season gets canceled. Just what was it like going through that? And how happy are you that you were able to bounce back from that setback?
Yeah, COVID was tough for everybody, obviously. But I really felt for, the older guys, seniors at that point. Because, we did have that goal of coming back and going back to a regional. And, obviously we were playing the Southern teams to start. So it wasn't the prettiest start, but, I felt like we had a great squad that year. And, COVID was tough, but, it kind of put things into perspective at the end of the day when it was all over, and come back for next year, especially, I don't know, you just can't take things for granted. And,
right.
With things like that, you only get 4 years of college baseball and one was stripped away. So it did put things into perspective. And I think that's why we had such the year we had in the next year.
Right. Now, speaking of the next year, let's move on to 2021. So you go 2 for your first 20, right? But then you start to pick it up. You had that streak where you reach base safely in 9 straight plate appearances, 7 straight hits. By late April, your average climbed as high as 383, and you were also leading the conference in RBIs from the leadoff spot, no less. You had that huge 2 home run game versus UMBC, which was actually the first time I ever met you after that. And not only were you raking, but the team was winning almost every game during that stretch. You really became one of the stars of the America East during this time period. So just what was that time like for you?
It was awesome. As you said, we were winning every game. I think we went like 15. We won 15 of 16 at one point.
Yeah.
And it was awesome as a player too, because it did make me realize that I can do this. I can compete with the best of them in this conference, and it was just a great stretch for as a player and as a team, really.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that was really where you became Evan Giordano. I mean, you had already had a big year in 2020, but that was kind of where you said, like, no, I'm here. I'm out here 10 toes down. I'm a star here too. And you've pretty much become, that was really the start of you becoming the face of, not only Stony Brook baseball, but perhaps the America East. Now, you slowed down a little bit after that, but you were still named first team all conference. Then later that week during the America East tournament, you had your first career walk-off to eliminate Albany from the playoffs. How fun was that moment for you? And how much sweeter did it make it knowing that it was against Albany?
Yeah, I remember, I was struggling during that point, like you said, towards the back end of the year. And, that walk-off kind of just, I don't know. It kind of just put all that things in the past because, Albany is obviously our school's rival, and it was to, end their season, which made it even better. But, it was a good game, and we were losing for most of the game, if I can remember. So,
right.
The way we came back and won and found a way to win, and it did feel good at the time. Yeah.
Right. And as a matter of fact, you guys didn't lead until you won. You were down 2-0 the entire game. So now of course, right after that, I think it might have been the very next day, you guys faced some more adversity. The weather prevented you guys from getting to the regional, and you guys were on the long end of one of the most just heartbreaking decisions ever made by an athletic conference. What was it like being there in the dugout hearing the news about the America East decision to cancel the tournament?
It was so depressing. Sean Hilbron came to talk to us, and he was tearing up. It was very sad, with the way the whole year that we had, just to have it ended like that. I mean, the seniors, they come back for another year after getting their season wiped away from COVID, and they get it ended like that. They're crying everywhere. It was not a good place to be at the time. It was very sad, and I still feel for those guys.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody who's part of that will ever, live that down. So
during that monsoon in that middle game, were you guys thinking about that at all? Maybe they're playing this because they knew they screwed up the year before.
Kind of, at the time, not really. But after it all happened, where we were delayed, and we had gotten to the field, and then they weren't really at the field; they were just kind of hanging out in the bus, which was it then kind of hit us that they kind of don't want to play this game. And that bothered us, and the whole situation just, kind of bothered us the way it was all handled. But yeah.
No, it bothers me too. So I'm not really gonna touch up on it anymore.
Though, it puts you in a slightly different situation from all the other programs when it was announced that as a result of the move to the CAA, that we would not be allowed to participate in America East tournaments, because you had this done to you the year before, and now you're getting it done again even before the season starts, essentially. Yeah.
We found out about that, and we're just like, man, we can't catch a break. Some of you guys have never really experienced what it's like to be able to win. And I was lucky enough to have been given the chance freshman year, and we took advantage of it. But since then, I haven't, as a senior, I haven't been able to get that chance to go to a regional. So, yeah, it's been a tough 3 years with the whole conference and everything. But, so that's basically all I have to say about that.
Yeah, no, I'm not going to make you dive too much more into that. But
yeah,
I do just want to ask you something like that. When seasons end on heartbreaking notes, like they did in 2021 with the tournament being stripped and all that, it tends to make the off season so much longer just because it ends on such a bad note. So how long did it take you? How long did that moment stay on your mind? And, just how anxious were you to get back into it, and help the team bounce back from it?
I think it was on our mind the whole year, the way we ended the year, the previous year. I think, it never really left our minds, and it motivated us to play to a certain level this year, because we wanted to really, prove it to everybody and prove it to, people who didn't think we deserved to make it to the regional. So yeah, it was, I think it was on all of our minds the whole year.
Wow. That's, I guess I shouldn't be surprised, but that just goes to show you, right? Just how impactful that decision really was. And then of course, obviously, the nail in the coffin is early February. They say, yeah, you guys can't compete in the playoffs this year. Yeah. I don't even need to touch up on that. We've already, that's been beaten to death. So,
we'll had to ask everybody that.
Yeah. Obviously, but at this point, it's not like I'm expecting Evan to give us a different answer. Like, actually, I was happy that we were banned from the playoffs. So,
we'll talk about that later. But the important thing here is that all the teams managed to find something to play for, whether it was just the regular season, whether it was each other. when you guys obviously got together and talked about this amongst yourselves, what was what were you going to play for? What was your goal going to be now that the America East was off the table?
Our goal was, once we found out about moving to the CAA and we're not eligible for championship, Coach Sank actually talked to us. I think it was probably that day, but he said, they're not letting us get to a championship and win it. So let's just take the regular season and, show these guys. So that was our goal. And I'm glad we accomplished that.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Now, of course, you guys are a winning program with a winning coach and a winning history. And you showed that once more this year by winning the 2022 regular season banner, I'll call it. So once again, you guys start off slow as a team, but you slowly climb your way back over 500, and then you finish the year atop the conference standings, which, by the way, for the third straight year. Just how great was it to win another regular season title as a team, even after, all you guys had been through?
Yeah, that was like the cherry on the top for the whole season. All we worked for, and we accomplished everything that we were allowed to accomplish. So, it was just good for, I think, the whole team, the guys, who haven't been able to, get to that regional, obviously. And this was our regional,
right?
Those last few weekends. And, I think, it was awesome for all of us.
For sure. It was awesome for everybody there that week. Trust me. I was fanboying over there, on the sidelines. So, but of course, there is no regular season title without you. You had such a huge year, both statistically and also with the value you added to the team. You slashed a career best 333, 442, 628 with a conference leading 1070 OPS, right? You hit a career high 13 doubles and 13 homers, which was tied for fourth most in the program history. And also the 49 RBIs was a career high and one behind Booty for the team lead. So with all that being said, was there any specific mechanical adjustment you made to your swing that helped propel you, or was it just the culmination of the experience you've had here?
It's funny that you asked that, because there was a mechanical adjustment that I did make, and it was probably around the time of when we played, I think it was Binghamton at home. And I was talking to my dad, and at the time, I think I had like 5 home runs. And, I wasn't having the production year that I wanted to have. And he was saying, he was kind of messing around with me, saying like, oh, you lost your juice, you got no juice. And, we were kind of talking, just messing around. Right. And he was like, last year, were you doing anything different that you're not doing now? And, I thought about it, and I tried to fix my hands a little bit to where I was last year when I was going good. And it was, I would say that there was a mechanical adjustment with my hands. And, since that weekend at Binghamton and that weekend around NJIT, I really started to implement what I was working on with my hands, every day. And I think that is what made the adjustment to start lifting the ball more, because before then I was hitting it hard, but I was hitting it right to shortstop. I was hitting it in the ground, and the adjustment to start lifting the ball, start driving the ball, but backspin up the middle, stay in the middle of the field. I think that all rooted from that conversation with my dad, just messing around. So yeah, I do. Yeah. I credit him. I told him like, thanks for that. You helped me out. Thank you.
Right. Sometimes that's all it takes, right? I mean, I remember that Binghamton series, because that was the first series you guys lost this year. Wound up being the only series you guys lost in conference play. And we were both walking back to our cars. I guess we were parked by one another. And you had a couple of hard hit outs that day. You might have been like 0 for 4 with 3 bullets or something like that, or something along those lines.
Yeah, I was.
I guess I just noticed you and you noticed me, and I was like, hey, can't do any better than that. Apparently you can do much better than that, because this finish you had to the season, might have single-handedly won you the MVP. Now, not only were the stats good, because it's not just about the stats, but you were so big time this year. I mean, you hit, so I'll run you through everything just in case you forgot, right? You hit game tying home runs in the bottom of well, I guess it wasn't the 9th inning. Yes, it was. You hit game tying home runs in the bottom of the 9th inning on back-to-back days against UMass Lowell in the opening series of the conference. You also hit 2 leadoff home runs this year. You also had a go-ahead home run against UMBC on the 9th pitch of the at-bat. Of course, you also had the 2 biggest hits of the year in that one championship game. You hit the 3-run bomb to cut the deficit to 1, and then the walk-off hit in the 10th inning. You also drew the walk-off walk against UMass Lowell. I mean, you were clutch all year round. Just what is it about you, your mindset, and your approach that really has turned you into Mr. Clutch?
I think it just stems from wanting to be in that moment. You get up there and you want to be that guy. You want to be that guy to win the game for your team. And the way I look at it as just you got to do what you have been doing. I don't think you can overthink those situations. I don't think you have to be in the have to mindset where I have to get this hit, I have to get this done. During those situations, I would say for the most part, maybe, I don't know, some of the time, but you have the advantage as a hitter. These pitchers, they got to come right after you. They got to make the pitches. I think as a hitter, you can't really think about too much because hitting's hard enough. So if you just go up there and you want to you want to be that guy, you want to get it done. I think, that competitive mindset, you just got to compete. If you want to compete more than the guy on the mound, for the most part, I feel like you're going to get it done. So I think it just comes down to, that mindset you have to have when you go up there in those type of situations. You don't want to think too much. You don't want to try and do too much. You just want to out-compete the pitcher in that spot.
That's amazing. Yeah, you're probably the first person who's ever said that the hitter has the advantage. But that just goes to show the mindset of an elite competitor, right? It's not the same as I guess the layman. But having said all that, right, your incredible year was capped off by winning the 2022 America East Player of the Year. In simpler terms, the 2022 America East MVP. First of all, let's officially congratulate you, because we haven't congratulated you yet. We've alluded to it several times, but congratulations, Evan.
Thank you.
But secondly, just take me through that moment and the moments that followed. I mean, how did you find out? Who told you? Where were you? Who were you with? How did you celebrate? Just let me have it.
I was just, I was at the house with the guys, and we all were just hanging out, downstairs, and we knew it would come out that day, and we're hoping that that could be it, but we found out on social media just like everybody else, and it was awesome. Deej was so excited. Ben was so excited. KJ, these are guys I live with, and they were so happy for me. So it was pretty cool at the time.
That's amazing. It's also amazing that you had it broken to you by the Twitter sphere, and nobody called you or whatever to say, "Hey, Evan, congratulations, you've just won the MVP."
Yeah,
I was expecting it to be something like that.
No.
But anyway, your reputation precedes you as a very hard worker. I've heard several stories about you, but there's this one that really sticks out to me. So this past season, when you guys were playing Hofstra, Matt Maselli's older brother, he came to watch you guys play, and me and him started talking about the team, and he told me a story that really stuck with me. So the week before, you guys got blown out by Jersey Tech, and you went 0 for 3 personally against Ryan Fisher, and Matt Maselli told his older brother that you stayed up late that night and took practice swings in front of the mirror for over an hour just to correct your mechanics because you were so frustrated. Now, I'm not sure if this story is true or not, but obviously you can confirm it. But if it is true, it obviously worked, because the very next day you hit a double in each of the first 3 innings and then tacked on a home run just for good measure. So you never looked back after that moment. Just how often do you do things like that? And how proud does it make you to see your work, your hard work, lead to results like that?
First off, that story's funny because I would do that in a hotel. I don't know if it was for an hour, but I would do that in the mirror. My swing was feeling a little off, and against Fisher, I had a tough day, so I guess it was feeling off. But yeah, that's funny that he told you that. But as an athlete, as a college athlete, you got to work. I feel like to be successful, and I think when hard work pays off, there's no better feeling. So.
Absolutely.
You know what? It sets up another interesting question, because we can just spend the next 15 minutes on this subject alone, rivalries. Okay. There's a traditional rivalry with Binghamton because the American East, since both schools have been in it, have been either Maine, Binghamton, or Stony Brook winning it. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And Binghamton won this year. But you have Hofstra coming up as a CAA rival, and they won the CAA this past year. You have LIU down the road. They won the Northeast this year. You guys won the American East regular season championship. But I'm setting up NJIT and the rivalry because it's more than just 2 teams vying for the title in 2021. There's a lot more there. And maybe you can take us a little bit, without getting into too much trouble, the background behind how that became so bitter.
So I think last year, or 2 seasons ago, we were playing them, and it was just getting chirpy. Everybody was chirping at each other, and they were new to the conference. We kind of never knew what they were about, and they were I think they were a little too chirpy, in my opinion. And some players that were saying things to us, and it kind of just, I don't know, it didn't. The games were close too, so all the adrenaline was up. But I think they're one of the chirpiest teams in the conference, and I think that set it up for the playoffs. And we really never had anything against them. And then the tournament hit, and then the rain delay hit, and that just made things even more. I don't know the word, but we were just. I don't know, but the environment that the teams both had together was crazy because of that tournament, because of the rain delay.
Personal, maybe.
Yeah, I guess you could say that. That's the right word for that. Yeah, it was a little more personal than what we had with some of the other teams.
Right. Well, it exacerbated, whatever frustrations you guys felt, and I mean. I think everybody in Stony Brook's camp couldn't stand Jersey Tech either. I used to watch the games from the right field line. I would always stand and watch them over there. And so would Brett Paulson's dad. And I don't know if you guys can hear my dog barking right now. I'm sorry about that. But anyway, Brett Paulson's dad, every time Jersey Tech would score and they would do that little like softball chants, Brett Paulson's dad would do it too, because he hated them, So it wasn't just you guys, the players. A lot of us couldn't stand them. But I think what bothered me most of all about Jersey Tech was how they would they would, it went beyond just talking trash, because talking trash is part of sports. But they were like calling players out by their numbers. Like I remember Stanton Luthner was batting, and someone from their dugout yelled, 13, why don't you strike out again? You know, like you're not being competitive, you're being classless. So, I mean, what is your evaluation of them? I mean, like, do you think it's just in the moment stuff, or do you think that there might be like a culture issue over there, like a respecting the opponent's issue over there?
I don't really know what their culture's like over there. I just know that they do like to trash talk, and I just think sometimes they do it in the wrong situations, and it's just, I don't know. It's just they had a few players the one season where we got rained out that are not there anymore, that were I feel like trying to get too personal with the trash talk, and it really ticked us off. But I just think they were sometimes they would do it the wrong way,
Yeah, for sure. Now, okay, I'm going to ask one more question about Jersey Tech, and then we'll get on with the rest of this. But after the America East passed down their ban, after they banned Stony Brook from the postseason, numerous athletes and other Stony Brook figures were outspoken on social media about how disappointed they were in the America East. And Tom Kohler, former Seawolf, obviously, former Major League pitcher, he posted a selfie video about a minute long of him just ripping the NCAA and the America East to shreds. And Jake Rappaport, lefty pitcher for Jersey Tech, he was their closer in 2021. He was their 2 starter this year. I guess his feelings are not left on the diamond. He legitimately does not like you guys, because he quote tweeted Tom Kohler and said, "Cry about it." And then he proceeded to put up like a 6 ERA this year. Pretty sure you hit a couple home runs off of him. Now, this obviously, I don't mean to make this personal about just Rappaport, but when a player is talking like that, when a player is talking the talk and then you show him up with a leadoff home run or whatever, how good does that feel to know that you shut him up, that you embarrassed him?
It does feel good. I think, a better way to lead would be leading, by example, over than, just trying to, lead by words. But so, I think that, the way we came out and took it to, Jersey Tech on the field just proves, how, solid of a program we are.
Absolutely. Now, another story about you that I love is the number 45 and, the reason behind it. So I met your parents in 2021 while I was doing a final project for a journalism class on the baseball team. And I guess your dad recognized me because this year, right before game 1 against Jersey Tech started, he walked up to me and he reintroduced himself. He said he already knew I was the reporter. So I guess he just recognized me. And your dad's a good guy, by the way. Anyways, I asked him about the number 45 and he told me all about what happened. It's a funny story, but I would rather you yourself tell it in your own words.
Yeah. So I actually listened to I don't know if it was a podcast, but the time you guys were talking about it.
Yes.
And, like a week or 2 ago. Right. And that was pretty spot on. But so we go down to UMBC and we played 2 games and I take off my jersey after the game in the hotel. And they were like smelly, I guess. So I didn't really want them laying around smelling up the room. So I just put them in the closet. And then the next morning we had to check out early, and I don't wake up too easily, so I try to get as much sleep as I can. And so I got up, late. I guess I was in a rush, and I was just packing my stuff, and forgot to check the closet where my jerseys were. And I didn't realize until we got back to the locker room that night at like 3 a.m. that I didn't have my jerseys, and I knew exactly where they were and where I left them. So I called the hotel the next day. It was like me, my dad, my coaches. We all tried getting these jerseys from this hotel, and they just never said that, or they said that they never even had them. So I don't know, but I do know that I left them in that hotel.
Yeah, some room service, some member of the room service team gave that to their kid as a birthday present.
That's what I was thinking too.
I don't know if you know the story about Michael Jordan.
Of course he knows.
Yeah, didn't his jersey get stolen out of his locker or something, and he had to wear 45?
Yeah, he would decide to wear the number 45. So when you came up, I said, "Wait a minute, Evan normally wears number 12. What's this?" I said, "Is this some kind of Michael Jordan thing?" Yeah,
it's just
I didn't know the story yet.
Funny,
right? Yeah, and
it is funny the number they chose.
Yeah, and I was nervous because that was Tuchillo's number. I was thinking something terrible happened, and you were like memorializing him. So
no, thank God.
Yeah, but Matt brings up a great point. 45 Jordan, blah blah blah. How many Michael Jordan jokes have you received since there's no way that we're the only ones who have brought that up. I mean, has anyone been referring to you as Michael Jordan just because of the whole 45 thing?
No, nobody's been referring me to Michael Jordan, but I think he said something.
Guys, not even the coaches. I'm surprised.
Yeah, that's their little tone deaf.
It's been more of Johnny Tuchillo than Michael Jordan. I've been getting a lot of Johnny Tuchillo jokes.
Well, it would have been funny if if Cam Boone had played New York, New York as your walk-up song, like that would have been funny. That's a real Johnny Tuchillo reference, but whatever.
Yeah.
Next year. I guess they never recovered those 12s. So you're going to have to wear 45 again whenever you guys go to those uniforms, right?
Well, I'm hoping that they can, get some new jerseys. Hopefully, I'll pay.
Right. Well, they might ask you to, but number 12 is an outstanding player, but number 45 is a different animal. Every time you wore 45, something good happened. Have you considered at all maybe changing to 45, or is 12 here to stay?
No, 12 is here to stay.
Okay. All right. Now, let's see what I've got for you. All right. So apparently that's all I've got in regards to your jersey numbers.
Let's pick up on the rivalry thing because going into CAA next year, and Hofstra is now the reigning champion. Okay. You handled them pretty good in the regular season this past year. And there are two things that come into play here. Number one, Hofstra, naturally, your nearest CAA rival. And number two, have you surfed any of the CAA team websites and seen the facilities they play in?
No, I have not.
You're talking about, when you go down south and you're playing in minor league parks, that's what they're like. Yeah. So you guys are going to have, you guys are going to be going up against programs like that in the CAA. Have the coaches even said, you think the America East is tough? Will you get to these guys?
Yeah, they've said we're going to a better conference for sure. So, yeah, I'm excited.
Now, okay, sorry, this has nothing to do with the CAA or rivalries. So, sorry, Matt, to throw this off a little bit.
It's okay.
But, I was talking to you I was talking to you about this before we started recording. But, just so I could stay in the loop as the reporter, I follow like pretty much all the athletes on social media. I follow the entire baseball team and I get to see a lot about you guys. One thing I've really noticed about you is that you, Ben, Cole, Durkin, and Nick DeGennaro, you all seem to be really close with one another. Of course, you guys all came in the same year, 2019. So just how close are you with those guys, and what's your friendship like with them?
Yeah, I would throw Kyle Johnson in there as well. But
Right. I'm sorry, I forgot KJ.
No, yeah, it's all right. No, we're like best friends. I think, we do everything together. We live together, and I just think we make like one of the reasons I came back was because of these guys and because of Deej, Ben, Cole, and KJ. And I don't know. I feel lucky to have come here to met them, and I'm just so glad that we all came together as best friends.
Now, how is Deej feeling? I got a little scoop. I know what the injury was. He tore the UCL off the bone, so obviously he needed Tommy John. So, just how is he doing? I heard he's progressing really well. Has he thrown a baseball at all? What's going on with him?
Yeah, he's been thrown, I think, lately. I don't think anything with high intensity. Right. But he's doing well as of last time I checked. So
that's good.
It's good news for him.
That's good. He no longer has the bionic arm going, so that's good.
No.
Now, on the theme of relationships with teammates and all that, do you keep in contact with any former teammates at all? Like Brian Herman and Chris Hamilton were at a couple games this year. Who else? Brian Morrissey was there at the Manhattan game. So, I mean, how often do you speak to your former teammates, if any at all?
Yeah, we still have a group chat that we made when we were all on the same team together, and we're still talking it. So, I keep up with all of them pretty much. From like 2 years ago, I'd say that the whole team still talks. So that it's great to still be in touch with those guys and see them when they come around. They come around every few often during the year, but it's great to stay in touch with some of the guys that I played with.
Now, what would you say your favorite moment of these past 4 years has been? Because you've obviously had a lot of big moments and you have a lot to choose from. So what would you say is number one for you?
Last 4 years, I would say one singular moment, I guess, would have to be, going to that regional. That was probably the coolest baseball experience I've ever been a part of. But, I would say the combination of winning these regular season titles, because since that regional, we, as everybody knows, we haven't been given the chance to go back. So I'd say like the combination of just those 3 regular season wins, it's probably the thing that's going to, stay with me the longest, because, we've been through it all. And I think just how we came out on top. It's just those 3 regular season titles. When we found out we were regular season titles, I think it's just those are the moments that are going to be with me the longest.
Awesome. Now, look, I'm running out of ammo. I've only got 3 questions left for you, so hang in tight. Matt, do you have anything for him, or do you want me to close this one out?
Yeah, close it out. You get the last 3 outs.
All right, sure. Okay, well, I'm going to add in a 4th one. So when when you saw on, it could have been Twitter, Instagram. I don't follow the America East on Instagram, but when you saw on social media the America East call you guys co-champions, did you like roll your eyes? What was the reaction like with that?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. They could call us whatever they want. We know we're the regular season champs. I think everybody in the conference knows. So
right.
It's whatever at this point.
Yeah. You had to know they were gonna let the door hit you on the way out, or whatever. Anyway, you don't have to worry about them for the rest of your life. So now for the more important ones, you guys had a lot of names to replace this past year, 6 in particular that were really stars for you in 2021 or earlier. Chris Hamilton, John LaRocca, and Johnny Tuccillo, they were all really productive hitters, good base runners, and elite defenders. Then, of course, there's Sam Turcotte, Brian Herman, and Jared Milch, who we've had on this show. And they were all talented, reliable, and experienced starting pitchers, right? So that's 6 guys right there. And then, of course, Deej gets hurt in the second week of the season. So what was it like having to fill all those holes up as a team? And how comfortable are you now knowing that you've found some solutions to these problems?
Yeah, it was a big test year for us because obviously, as you said, I think our whole starting rotation that one year was gone. So the next year, we had 0 of the guys that were starters in the rotation, and we had a bunch of guys, position wise, who were a big impact. But the way these guys stepped up this year just shows you how bad they wanted, how bad or how hard they worked, and it makes us feel even that more confident going into the CAA, because I feel like any challenge you give us, I mean, what haven't we seen?
Right at this point.
Yeah, so I feel good about going next year.
Awesome. Now, you had a promising group of young players. Obviously, you just touched up on the guys who stepped up, but some of these guys were sophomores who hadn't played much. Others were freshmen. I was impressed by a couple, and I'm even more excited to see them play next year, to take on bigger roles. Who were some players that personally impressed you the most, and who do you think we should keep our eyes open for next year?
The first person that comes to my mind is Matt Brown. Of course. I think he stepped up. He was a huge impact for us. We lost production in Hamilton and Tooch and Raka, and I think as a young guy that he is, he stepped up even more to what people were expecting. And from the pitching side, I would have to go with Ben. Ben was, unreal for us this year. He was a big leader. He was, great on the field. And, with those guys stepping up, I think, it could really help us going into next year because those guys will be back. So, the lead that they can, or the leadership that they will show, that they've already been here and they've already stepped up to these kids who are given the opportunity. I think it's going to be huge.
Awesome. And then, of course, there's two freshman pitchers who we didn't even get to see this year because they were hurt. JT Rabb was recovering from Tommy John surgery, and Colin Rain, who these guys are both Long Island boys too. I actually knew who they were when they were in high school. Colin Rain had a pinched nerve, so neither of them got to pitch this year, so they redshirted. Have you gotten to see them throw at all? Like, have they pitched any live at bats?
Colin has pitched live. Yeah, he's a stud, and JT was just getting towards the end of his throwing when the season ended, and I've heard great things about him too.
Oh yeah. Well, the last time he pitched, I think he struck out 19 hitters in 7 innings or something like that.
Yeah,
and they lost that game too. So. But that's how baseball works, I guess. All right. Now, I've officially only got one question left for you, Evan. You made it to the end of the line. So let me just ask you this. What is it like playing for Matt Sank?
Coach Sank is a great coach, and it's awesome because I think all the players would do, anything for that guy. And I just think he gets the best out of us. And he's just a great motivator. He's a winner. He's been around the game, and he just knows what it takes to win. And I don't know what more you can ask for out of a head coach. The guy leading the ship just knows all the answers to how to get it done. And I think, as a player, I just don't know what else you want more of a head coach. I mean, he's just a great guy.